On your feet! Get them going!
Oh, goodness, that's not right. There we go. Hello, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever the case may be. Welcome to Cross Examinations Live. I'm your host, Mike S. Miller. I'm not a pastor, priest, rabbi, theologian, well-educated man. I'm just a guy on the internet talking to you about whatever. I don't know why you even come here. Corpse Grinder here, front row. What's up, Corpse Grinder? How you doing? Dark Admiral March Hare popping in as well, bright and early. If anybody's on X watching, you're gonna have to pop out the viewer to chat. So you have to, like, you see the image while you're on X. You don't full screen it. You have to pop it out. It's such a pain in the butt. You have to like click the words underneath and it'll pop up a viewing channel that has the chat on it. I don't know why they do it that way. That's just the way they do it. So if you're on X and you're watching, you know how to chat and say how to do. What's up, Tina? How you doing? Chuck is here. About to start driving soon. Man, you've just started driving? My son's just starting to drive now, too. Actually, I need to get this one started, too. He's going to be 17 next month. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. They grow so fast. I was talking to an old friend of mine last night, or yesterday. He's 61. He's going to be 60. He's going to be 62 this year. His kids are all grown up, and they have not started making him grandbabies yet. I already have my first cute little Hezekiah. And yeah, I've leveled up. Next level up won't be for another 2 decades or so when I have great grandchildren. But you know, as long as they do everything right. Is anyone else getting error messages on their screens? I don't know. Am I doing something wrong again? That would be bad. Not to my knowledge. That's right, Tina. I have, in point of fact, leveled up. Funny guy. I'm heading home from work. Hello. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I hope you guys all enjoyed Drawn and Quartered last night. I thought it was fun. I'm kind of sad that I was the only one who watched Minecraft. Out of everybody else, I was like 9 people there. I don't even know how many people were. 6, 8, 9. Maybe it was 7, and I just skipped the right number. I don't know. But I'm the only one that watched Minecraft. Am I the only one with kids of that age who was like, yeah, I'll go see a movie with my kids? Is that the case? Is it? I don't know. Anyways, today we're talking about Job chapter 31, and as you can tell already, the rest of the schedule is whatever else I can think of. So Tina is in bed at 9. All right, fine. I can't do it. I mean, I could do it earlier. I don't know. It's just West Coast stuff. Hey, Brooklyn Lou responded to me mentioning him in yesterday's show. Even though yesterday's show was about the Islamic dilemma, Lou still decided to pipe in. So I'm going to go ahead and read just to get the pistons firing over here. Dang it. I found a second box of markers and I just put it next to my thing and then it fell over and all our markers are all over the floor and I don't want to pick them up right now because I'm lazy. Quest. What thing is begotten of a mother and a mother is begotten by it again? Answer, ice to water. I don't get it. Oh, it was rare. All right. An error occurred. Please try again later. That's weird. Reboot. Try again later. Reboot. I'm going to get into Lou's response to me so that I can respond to him, so that he can respond to me, so that I can respond to him, because that's how this goes. He says, belief is a personal conviction, while knowledge is based on facts and evidence. I'm going to try to parse this. Belief is a personal conviction. You know what? For giggles, I'm going to look up the definition. We all know what believe means, but I wonder how the dictionary defines noun. The mental act, condition, or habit of placing trust or confidence in another. Well, I guess that's person to person. 2, mental acceptance of and conviction in the truth, actuality, or validity of something. Okay. So that falls under what he's saying. 3, something believed or accepted as true, especially a particular tenet or a body of tenets accepted by a group of persons. Okay, so just saying belief is the personal conviction, that's kind of a narrow definition, but acceptable to the terms, while knowledge is based on facts and evidence. Let's go with knowledge. The state or fact of knowing. 1. 2, familiarity, awareness, or understanding gained through experience or study. 3, the sum or range of what has been perceived, discovered, or learned. All right, knowledge based on facts and evidence. That's a pretty good summation of a generally all the definitions. Good enough. If you use I believe, gosh dang it, freaking phone. I'm gonna turn my ringer off. I get so irritated when my phone goes off during the show. So hold on. All right. If you use I believe, but if it's a we believe, it's not. If you use I believe, but if it's a we believe, it's not. Oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't. Okay, yeah, right. For him, he's saying belief is a personal conviction. If you use I believe, it is. Yes. Okay, correct. Thank you, Corpse Grinder. I've seen something that made me laugh, and I thought it is a good point. If there was no God, there would be no atheists. It's true. It's true. It's true. All right. Atheism has to do with belief. Right. A personal conviction that there is no God. Agnostic refers to knowledge. See, I mean, the definitionally, it's true. It's true. But agnosticism is also a belief. Agnosticism, okay, again, I was raised agnostic, so this is where I'm coming to this from, is my understanding of being raised agnostic. It is a belief that you cannot know something. It's not knowledge that can't be known per se. It is simply the belief that that knowledge cannot be known. So it still falls under the purview of belief and personal conviction. A person can have a lack of belief and still do not and still do not have the knowledge to prove a claim regarding an issue, especially when the information is unknowable. Again, agnosticism is the belief that that information is unknowable. It is not proof and evidence that that information is unknowable. Because there's plenty of people who've got plenty of evidence that proves to them there is, in fact, a God. In fact, most of the world, almost everybody in the world, except for a tiny percentage of people who call themselves atheists, accept and acknowledge the evidence that there is a God. So you can't really use that as an argument. I don't think, anyways. I do not know what to say if you do not get it. You are wrong. No, I think I'm right. Right. Your experience from years of being an agnostic. Well, I mean, that's how I was raised. My dad was an agnostic, and he taught me why we were agnostic, etc., etc., etc. All right. Yeah, I wasn't a Christian until I was in my 20s, Chuck. I was almost in my mid-20s when I became a Christian. Well, I can say I was in my I'm 25 is your mid-20s. I was slightly younger than 25 when I became a Christian. Think harder about it. I've thought about it. If I have to take the time to think about an answer, to question it is because I am actually contemplating the question seriously. So am I. Maybe I just think faster. I don't know. This does not mean I am dumb. I never implied that you were dumb, Brooklyn Lou, and I don't think you're dumb, in case somehow you felt I was implying that. I do not. It means I am wrestling to give an honest answer. See, I think I fall back on atheism it's an emotional position. I'm not going to back away from that. Atheism is an emotional position. I don't think you came to the logical, rational conclusion that there is no God from your agnostic position that you can't prove there's a God. Your belief that there is no God, which is what it is. It's the contra to believing there is a God. Theism, atheism. We had this conversation already. No, does not mean I am dumb. I'm saying philosophical questions require thought. Now on flat Earth. I got him with this. I got him with the flat Earth thing, and it drives him nuts. It's a disbelief in others' claims of God. So it's a disbelief of the majority of all of mankind throughout the history of mankind. So it is a contrary belief that there is no God. It's not disbelief. It's a belief that there is no God. I can not believe in other gods. That doesn't make me atheist. And that's this dumb. Oh, yeah, you're an atheist too. You don't believe in. No, that's not. You're an atheist too. I just believe in one less God than you. That's such a cope answer for atheists to try to skirt around the fact that atheism is specifically the belief that there is no God. It's not a non-belief. It is a belief. It's not a disbelief. You can claim it is all you want, but disbelieving one thing simply means you believe something else. You can't. Okay, do you not believe that there is no God? Crickets, crickets, crickets. Christians were called atheists when they believe. Right. Yeah, I get that argument because they didn't believe in the Roman gods. But do you not believe that there is no God? No, you do believe that there is no God. It's not just there's no such thing as a negative belief. I mean, you cannot believe in something in particular, but it's like Belief is the act of taking a position, is it not? You're taking the position, you to believe your claim of God. There is no God. That's my question. Do you believe there is no God? Yes or no? I'm just going to sit here and wait for Corpse Grinder to answer. Do you believe there is no God? Yes or no? It's only 2 or 3 letters. So I'm going to sit here and wait. I have no idea. You're an agnostic then. You're not an atheist. That's the thing. Why are you claiming you're an atheist if you admit that you don't know? That's all that being an agnostic is. If you're claiming you're an atheist rather than that logical answer of just being agnostic, you're doing it for some emotional reason. You deal with that on your own. I'm not your therapist. Good point, Mike. Disbelief in something is belief in something else. Nature abhors a vacuum. That's right. There's no vacuum in the theist, atheist. There's no muddy middle where you can sit there and say, I just don't want to believe what you're saying, but I'm not going to say that I believe anything else. And if you're saying, as Corpse Grinder just did, I have no idea, you are by definition agnostic. All right, moving on. Now on flat Earth, I believe in a spherical Earth. But if asked if I am agnostic on it, to be honest, I must ask myself if I personally have to put in the research to prove it is. So, gosh. To prove it is so, I could have stopped that sentence at any word. And I have not. I have never done any major study on the shape of the Earth. I accept the scientist's word on much of it, and the pictures of the Earth I have seen from space. I do not even see myself as qualified to give a presentation on proof of a spherical Earth. So why would you require a snappy, quick answer to if I am agnostic on it? This seems much more like what a theist would do. You know, God done it. You mean like everybody on Earth almost entirely for the history of mankind. Because I was making a very simple point, Lou, your argument that someone believing something but not having absolute knowledge of it somehow qualifies them as agnostic rather than they believe something. So they're not agnostic. They have taken a position on the belief of something. No one can know everything about every subject. Therefore, that version of agnosticism that you were trying to use in our argument qualifies for literally every subject and every person at all times, which makes the word virtually meaningless. That was my point. Corpse Grinder, everyone defines God differently. I couldn't rule out a God or gods 100%. I just haven't heard or seen anything to convince me to believe their claims. Welcome to agnosticism, Corpse Grinder. You are where I was growing up, my whole growing up life. Doug Finn, welcome. Have you heard the one about the dyslexic agnostic insomniac? He'd lay awake in bed at night wondering whether or not there was a dog. I actually have heard that. What's up, Caleb? Caleb's in the house. Well, that's about... Yeah, Lou, I hope you get it. I hope you get the point, right? You can't just use the agnosticism to basically dismiss other people's beliefs. Once you have a belief about a thing, you're no longer agnostic about it. You may be ignorant about it. And I know the two are the same words, but agnostic in this phraseology is talking about more or less a system of belief or in regard to God, gods, whatever. even atheism. Being agnostic about, there's categories of, like earlier I read the different definitions of belief, different definitions of knowledge, right? Agnostic as a theistic or a philosophical position is one thing. Being agnostic in general, the more what's the word, pedestrian use of the term, it's not the same category. You're making a category error. And no, I don't think you're dumb. Okay. And I know you think about these things, but I also know that you are agnostic, but you're using the word atheist out of some emotional reason. And again, that's your personal baggage. If you want to share it, go ahead. But I don't think I've yet to meet an atheist who's truly an atheist, not an agnostic. I totally understand being an agnostic. Like I said, I was raised agnostic. So I totally understand the I don't know, and even the I don't think you can know positions. That is agnostic. That is that is agnostic. That's using both version terms, definitions. That is the philosophical agnosticism, and at the same time, that is the practical agnosticism of you are ignorant because you just haven't, like I was ignorant. I was agnostic and I was ignorant. So I was agnostic and agnostic about God. Like Lou, I believed in the metaphysical, which ultimately through the study of the metaphysical stuff that was just way too obvious, like near-death experience stuff. That's a lot of heavy stuff. That led me to being, maybe there's something to this this Bible stuff. Actually, that led me to prayer, which answered prayer, which seemed to me highly improbable. That led me to open my mind to think, maybe I'll look into these claims, the claims about this leather-bound book, and what do you mean you can prophesy and tell history in advance? And shouldn't a book that's 3,500 years old get some things wrong about, medicine and health, and even shouldn't it have like some scientific errors in it, like the Quran does, saying that we start our lives as a clot of blood? Shouldn't it have some of that stuff? It's 3,500 years old. It was written by people in a desert, 3,000 years. But no, none of that stuff is in there, except for the prophecy. The prophecy is in there. And they have what you'd call medical foreknowledge. It's like, example, and I use this example a lot because it was one that's just so obvious. When you cook meat in a metal pan, you wash the pan under running water until it is clean. I know, to us that's like, duh, right? However, the Bible also says when you cook meat in a clay pot, after you use it, break the pot. What do you mean? It took me like all day to make that pot. Why wouldn't I just use the pot again? Because clay is very porous, and porous clay is a breeding ground for bacteria, and that's going to make you sick. What do you mean? They knew that 3,500 years ago? No, God just told them to bake the pot in it. So stuff like that. They had the bitter potion for abortions, but y'all seem to be against abortions now. Were you not with me when I went through that word for word? That's not abortions. That is a misconstruing of that. The more curious thing is that you would it's that the dust of the temple would make a woman's thighs rot if she was. I mean, that's more along the lines of, you think it's her leg falling off, her thighs rotting. I mean, to me, that sounds a little more like flesh-eating bacteria. Ooh, ruby-throated hummingbird. Oh my gosh, this is so pretty. I was thinking about that yesterday. I was sitting outside and I'm just watching, and this ruby-throated, that's the second one I've seen in 2 days. Ruby-throated hummingbird just came up. Actually, I don't even think it was ruby-throated. Like, more of its whole head was ruby. Sorry, squirrel, hummingbird, squirrel. But yeah, that is the, yeah, it makes the woman's thighs to rot. And that sounds like flesh-eating bacteria. I would have to qualify that as the miraculous, right? Because, I mean, God would know whether or not she actually cheated on her husband. That's kind of the thing. It's like, you're going to take your wife in because you think she cheated on you, and you're going to give her this drink that's made with the ashes from the floor of the temple. And if she drinks it and she has cheated on you, her thighs will rot. Have you ever seen flesh-eating bacteria? I'm not going to show it because it's freaking gross. But that's like what I envision when I think her thighs will rot. Maybe they'll get gangrenous. I have no idea. Was that the King James word? Yeah, it's the King James. Her thighs will rot. Ooh, you know what? That's a good point. Let's run that through Grok and see how it reads. Leviticus, where the woman's thighs rot. Scripture. Numbers 5:21. Twenty 21 and 22. All right. Wait, what is it? Numbers 5:21 and 22. Grok. Do Numbers 5:21 to 22. All right, here we go. Then the priest binds her with an oath, his voice carrying the weight of divine authority, calling forth the Lord's name in a curse that pierces the air. May the Lord set you as a byword, a living oath among your people, a warning whispered in fear, when he makes your thigh waste away, a hollow ruin, and your wombs swell with barrenness, a bloating curse that marks your shame. This is the judgment of your hidden deed, unveiled by the one who sees all. And the priest continues, his words a decree. Let this water, a bitter draught, steeped in the dust of holiness and the ink of accusation, enter your depths, sinking into your innermost being. May it stir your womb to bloat, a swelling tide of affliction, and cause your thigh to wither, a collapse of strength, if guilt lies within you. And the woman, standing before the sanctuary's gaze, must answer, Amen, Amen, a double assent, sealing her fate to truth's test, her voice trembling as she surrenders to the ordeal's power. So that is, if you've been watching at all lately, I've been running the deepest possible translation. I have a little prompt in AI that runs the deepest possible translation. That was word for word the deepest possible translation that is word for word and thought for thought, using the deepest meaning of each word in the scripture. Nothing there. And I know there are translations that say miscarry, but nothing there indicated miscarriage. It said that she will be barren. Her womb swelling will make her barren. It doesn't mean they miscarried. Doesn't mean it's abortion, right? And her thighs withering. It's unpleasant. And I'll be frank, it sounds like a miraculous thing because it's, first of all, it's from the temple, so it's God's presence is there. And if you're innocent, then nothing happens to you. So what are you LOLing at, Corpse Grinder? That, see, your assumption in this thing is that she's pregnant. What's poetic language? I literally read it to you. There's nothing there. This is the deepest meaning. This isn't this isn't poetic. Rendering a woman barren and her thighs withering. Has to be Masoretic Hebrew and Koine Greek, not modern. Yeah, this is from the Hebrew, and it's the, here, I'll even go to the words. The oath of the curse, double weight of divine sanctification or sanction, or strength. Your thigh to rot, yerek, euphemism for reproductive organs or strength. Noflet from nafal, fall, rot, wasting away, a physical collapse. Your womb to swell, beten, seat of life, tazva, saba, swell, unnatural bloating, barrenness, or curse manifest. It says nothing about miscarrying or abortion. Mixed with tabernacle dust and scroll ink. Yep. That's it. That's it. So I know you want to say that's about abortion just so you can somehow say we're contradicting ourselves, but it's not in the words. That's not what the words say. And I know there's bad translation. Look, there's bad translations of the Bible. I get it. And if someone were reading the bad translation, what was it? Was that the NIV? Yeah, the NIV, the not inspired version, says when he makes your womb miscarry. So if you're getting a bad translation, I get it. I'm going to the original. The original says zero about miscarriage, and it's not poetic language describing an abortion. It's not poetic at all. It's like your stomach's going to swell and your thighs are going to wither away. Oh, very poetic. But yeah. All right. Actually, I'm going to do the same thing with Job 31. Now, translate Job 31 in the same manner. Because I really, really have been enjoying reading the Bible with this Grok translation. All right. And then I will bring it over here and I will blow it up big enough. Oh, shoot. 31. Whoa, it's 40 verses in this. This is going to be a long read, but it's going to sound great. I know it. What manuscripts is it using? I don't know. I'm not going to look it up right now because I already just tapped into this one. So he said reproductive organs rotting, but that's not a miscarriage. No, you have to be pregnant. Why? Your assumption is that she's pregnant. It says nothing about being pregnant. Nothing at all. This is you're inserting concepts into it. All right. Let's go present, share screen. All right. Let's go. They are there to see if the baby is someone else's, bro. No. It says nothing. Oh my gosh, dude. It's not. It's only if a man thinks his wife, it doesn't say anything prior to that about if he thinks his wife's pregnancy is, it mentions nothing about pregnancy. It's just if a husband thinks his wife is cheating on him. If his husband, for some reason, thinks his wife is cheating on him. That's not to say he caught her in the act, because a woman caught in adultery would just be stoned. This is just a husband being suspicious and then not trusting his wife enough to take her word that she's not being. So I mean, that's kind of a messed up relationship, but whatever. If I even thought my wife had cheated on me, and I knew that taking her to the priest and saying, "Hey, I think she cheated on me," and then I don't know, that's pretty hardcore. Anyways, let's get to Job. Job 31 to 40 in readable prose. I forged a covenant with my eyes, a pact sealed in my soul, never to gaze with lust upon a maiden, to let my sight stray toward her purity and turn it to desire. Stray toward her purity and turn it to desire. For what portion would I claim from God above? What inheritance from the Almighty on high, if I bartered my honor for fleeting glances? Does not ruin stalk the wicked, calamity shadow those who twist justice, while I have walked straight, my steps unswayed by sin's lure? Does he not see my ways, tracing every path I tread, counting my strides, his eyes piercing the veil of my heart? If I have walked with falsehood, my feet hastening to deceit's call, let him weigh me in scales of righteousness, true and unyielding, that God may know my blameless core, my integrity unshaken. If my step veered from the way, my heart trailing after my eyes, or any stain clung to my hands, then let me sow and another reap, my harvest uprooted, my labor snatched by strangers' hands. If my heart was seduced by a woman, or I lurked at my neighbor's door, poised to steal what is not mine, then let my wife grind for another, her strength bent beneath a stranger's yoke. And let others lie with her, my betrayal mirrored in my shame. For such is a heinous crime, a fire of guilt that consumes, a sin judged by the righteous assembly, a blaze that devours to Abaddon, scorching all my gain, reducing my life's yield to ash. If I scorned the plea of my servant or maid when they cried out against me, dismissing their right, what then could I do when God rises? When he calls me to account, how could I answer his searching gaze? Did not he who shaped me in the womb craft them too, knitting us alike in the dark, his hands the same upon us all? This is talking about his slaves, by the way. I think it's funny that the oldest book in the Bible is already addressing how you should treat your slaves. That they have rights, and that as a man under God who will call him into account, we are all equal. We are equal. Servant and master, equal under the eyes of God. It's in the earliest book of the Bible. Revolutionary given the era, says Amy. Correct. If I withheld the poor their longing, leaving the widow's eyes to dim with unfulfilled hope, or ate my bread alone, the orphan denied a share from my table. Though from my youth I reared him as a father, guiding the widow from my mother's womb. If I saw one perishing for lack of cloth, the needy shivering without a cloak, and his heart did not bless me, warmed by the fleece of my sheep, if I raised my hand against the fatherless, strong in the gate's counsel with none to oppose, then let my shoulder slip from its socket, my arms snap at the bone, a fitting fracture for my wrong. What is this? The Beatitudes? It's the attitude of the Beatitudes, frankly. For dread of God's majesty held me. His terror a weight I could not bear, his lofty power my restraint. If I set my trust in gold, calling fine treasure my stronghold, or rejoiced in my vast wealth, my hand's bounty swelling my pride, if I gazed at the sun in its splendor, or the moon gliding in glory, and my heart secretly bowed, my hand kissing the air to worship, that too would be a crime for judgment, a betrayal of God above, denying the one who reigns on high. See, this is part of the thing where the integrated message system from outside of time and space that Chuck Missler always discussed really takes shape. Like I said, this predates Moses, all going back to the age of the patriarchs. This is the earliest book in the Bible, and it absolutely, in terms of message and idiom, reflects Christ's teaching on the cross probably 2,000 years later, right? No, looking at the moon isn't a sin, corpse. If I gloated over my foe's ruin, exulting when evil struck him, though I let no sin pass my lips, no curse rise against his soul, if my tense men never said, who has not feasted from his abundance? The traveler barred from my door, the wayfarer turned from my rest, if I hid my guilt like Adam, burying my shame deep within, fearing the crowd's clamor, the scorn of kin, shrinking silent behind my walls. Oh, that I had one to hear me. Here is my mark, my plea inscribed. Let the Almighty answer. Let my accuser pen his charge. I would bear it on my shoulder, a scroll of truth, a crown upon my brow. Each step declared to him, my tale laid bare, approaching like a prince unshamed. That sound like somebody? If my land cries out against me, its furrows weeping in chorus, if I devoured its yield without silver, or crushed the life of its tillers, then let thorns sprout for wheat, foul weeds choke my barley, my harvest a curse for my greed. Here Job's words end, his case sworn before the heavens. Hid my guilt like Adam. Huh? Strange that I actually used the Hebrew line there. Why is it strange, buddy? What are you seeing that I'm not seeing? No, looking at the moon it's talking about worship. You can look at the moon, but you're not worshiping the moon, right? You can look at the sun. Well, don't look at the sun, but generally not a good idea to look at the sun. Although I heard something about, like, if you look and the sun is in your field of vision, somehow or another it affects your pineal gland. And I don't know what that means, but I heard it on a reel. But it's amazing, Corpse Grinder, that you're skipping over all of this just super powerful, like, imagery and, like, exposition on what it means to be a good human being. You want to focus on something you can nitpick to try to say, look at all this good stuff, forget all that good stuff, look, you can't look at the moon. What's the agenda there? See, that's not skepticism, right? That's cynicism. Don't be such a cynic. Look straight at the sun, Mike 2025. That's not what I said. That is indeed not what I said. But yeah, man, do you guys, what do you think? Do you guys like this, or do you want me to go back to the King James? I really like this deep translation stuff. And I don't see how it's, look, we just read the freaking, or I didn't read it to you guys, but I'll read New International Version. New International Version was making Corpse Grinder, the agnostics case that the Bible says God makes you abort your kid. It's right. So even the authorized versions have freaking egregious errors in them that would make people think really bad things about our Lord God. So I think this deep meaning stuff, man, it reads, sorry, King James people, it reads so much better. Like so much deeper and more filled with information that was in the original language. Okay. Let me ask, what were you asking? Which what manuscript is it using? What manuscript are you using? I'm drawing primarily from the Masoretic text, the authoritative Hebrew text preserved by Jewish scribes known as the Masoretes. This is the standard textual tradition for most English translations of the Old Testament. Old Testament. And it's based on manuscripts like the Aleppo Codex and the Leningrad Codex, the latter being the oldest complete Hebrew Bible manuscript still extant. My approach isn't tied to a single physical manuscript, but reflects the Masoretic text as it's been transmitted, with its vocalized nikud and cantillation marks guiding pronunciation and meaning. That said, I'm not working from raw manuscript in real time. I'm an AI synthesizing knowledge of the manuscript Masoretic text from extensive training data, which includes digitized versions, scholarly editions, e.g. the Biblia Hebraica Stuttgartensia, or BHS, and linguistic analysis. I aim to capture the deepest possible meaning by leaning into the Hebrew roots, poetic structure, and cultural context, occasionally noting where textual variants like the Septuagint Dead Sea Scrolls or Samaritan Pentateuch might influence interpretation, though I haven't explicitly cited those here unless relevant. For the New Testament passages, like Ephesians and Romans, I'm using the Greek New Testament specifically aligned with the eclectic text traditions presented in editions like the Nestle Aland Novum Testamentum Graece, 28th edition, NA 28, or the United Bible Society's Greek New Testament, UBS 5. These are based on a synthesis of early manuscripts. Think Codex Sinaiticus, 4th century, Codex Vaticanus, 4th century, and papyri like P46 weighted toward the Alexandrian text type, though I account for Byzantine and Western variants where they enrich meaning. In practice, I don't hold a manuscript. I process the consensus text as preserved and interpreted, cross-referencing lexical tools, e.g. Strong's BDB for Hebrew, BDAG for Greek, and scholarly insights to unpack nuances. My translations prioritize depth over strict literalism, reflecting the spirit of the MT and the Greek NT as understood today, March 20th, 2025. But it's April. Oh, I think it updates. It can't update day by day. That's like the latest update was March 20th. If you want me to focus on specific manuscript tradition, e.g. Qumran scrolls for Job or Byzantine text for Ephesians, just say so. I can adjust the lens. How's that for an answer, buddy? New International Version's most recent translation committees also went out of their way to remove gendered terms from translation. Are you serious right now? Not inspired version, I'm telling you. so we just leave the NIV behind. Heck yeah. I don't know if people know this, but languages have gendered words. What? Oh, Micah. I'm not sure what people are taught anymore in schools. NIV runs on a translation philosophy of capturing phraseology as well, euphemism and perceived meaning in idioms on top of their hard swing to the left. The NIV is functionally worthless after the 80s. I've never liked the NIV personally. So avoid the NIV. Yes. What's up, Apple Redneck Game? You were here earlier. What's up? You think better than I was yesterday? That is good. Bible talks about what people should do rather than hurt a child. Not good for them. So was there a context there besides Mike looking straight at the sun? Oh yes, please do like, subscribe, and share. Yes, I mean, personally, I would avoid the NIV like the plague. I've never ever liked that translation. And I'm obviously I'm not per se KJV only. I'm not one of those guys. Chuck Missler always said he prefers the KJV because it's really old and they know where all the mistakes are already. Like every new translation is going to have mistakes, but then people have to dig through them and find all the mistakes in the new translations. But no, I'm really digging this Grok translation. Is there any particular scriptures you guys want me to run through my little Grok translator and see what the deepest possible meaning is? I don't think even Buddy could complain about what I just read about how the manuscripts it's using and how it's deriving its translation. Right, Buddy? Jonah 2, the entire thing? You want me to read the entire Jonah 2? But it says ESV, NSAB is okay. LSB may be the new standard for literalism over the ESV nowadays. Literal, just the prayer. Can you give me two what through what? I don't want to read an entire other chapter. I've only got 7 minutes left. Digging up. All right. What's he got there? Ooh, pancakes. I will not eat. John 1:1. That's a lot of poetry. John 1:1. In the beginning, before the first tick of time, at the primal root of all existence, there was the Word. Not a mere utterance, but a living force, the eternal expression of divine thought and will, pulsing with purpose. This Word stood in the presence of God, not distant, but near, face to face, in an intimacy beyond measure, sharing the very breath of the divine. And more, the Word was God himself, not a shadow or a lesser echo, but the fullness of deity, boundless in essence, one with the Creator from the dawn of all things. That's poetry. Imagine the entire... It would take so long to read. In the beginning was the Word was with God, and the Word was God. That's turned into... It's beautiful, right? Right, Amy? Don't you want to read the whole Bible like this? Oh my gosh. I feel like you'd get so much more out of it. It's like reading, but at the same time, it's a Bible study. It's like just reading, but Bible study. Jonah 2. 1 through 7. All right. TikTok. Let's see it. Present, share screen. Yeah, good job, Grok. All right. Wonderful. La, 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 la. Even here it says, I'm drawing from the Masoretic text, specifically translations like Kodak. And Jonah, swallowed by darkness, lifted his voice from the belly of the fish, a cavernous prison beneath the waves, and prayed to the Lord his God, his words a flicker of defiance against the abyss. He cried out, I called in my distress to the Lord, my voice rising through the choking grip of anguish, and he answered me, a whisper of mercy piercing my plight. From the womb of Sheol, the grave's hollow core, I shouted, and you heard my plea. Your ear bent low to my trembling soul. For you cast me into the deep, hurled me into the heart of the seas, where the currents swirled and swallowed me whole. Your billows, your breakers crashed over me, a relentless tide of your making, sweeping me from the light of day. And I said, I am driven from your sight, banished beyond the reach of your eyes, yet still my heart clung to hope. I will gaze again upon your holy temple, the place where your presence dwells, a beacon beyond the flood. The waters wrapped me tight, a noose around my soul, pressing me to the brink of death. The deep engulfed me, its chaos clutching my frame. Weeds of the sea twined about my head, binding me to the grave's embrace. I sank to the roots of the mountains, where the earth's foundations locked me in, its bars a cage for my forever. But you, O Lord my God, raised my life from the pit, snatching me from the jaws of oblivion with a strength only yours. When my soul fainted within me, melting under the weight of despair, I remembered the Lord, my mind turning to you alone, and my prayer soared to you, piercing the veil to reach your holy temple, a cry carried on the wings of faith. Boom. Wow, that really makes me think that Jonah was dead. He was in Sheol. His prayer had to pierce the veil. This is all very death-like talk. So as Jonah was in the belly of the whale for 3 days, as he was in the belly of the whale, would be dead for 3 days. Wow, says Melissa and Amy clapping. That's a really good Edwin too. Are you trying to say I was reading it like Edwin? That's not my Edwin. As Nita would say, you better get to crack-a-lackin', Mike. Time's running out. Oh, yes, time is indeed running out. Yeah, that's a great... Thank you for suggesting that. That was really deep. I got more out of that, I think, than I ever have just reading Job. No matter what, no matter what, no matter what, don't stop praying. Strafe. Right, all right. The LSB actually spells out the tetragrammaton. What does the L stand for in LSB? Lexicon? Literal? Literal Standard Bible or something? I don't know. That's a lot of letters in that sentence. Yeah. So, gosh, it'd be neat. It would be neat to do lysergic acid diethylamide. That's LSD, Tina. I never got where because shouldn't it be LAD, not LSD? Why is the S? Why is acid S? Is that like a thing in chemistry? Is acid an S? All right. Anyways, that was it. That was great. I love doing that. I kind of do want to have the whole Bible like that. That would be very fun and a good read. But anyways, that's it for the show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for being here. God bless us, everyone, and we'll see you all on the next exciting episode of Cross Examinations. Bye now.